Right. Shall we?
Shall we?
Shall we?
Are you ready for this, you poor man? Because I'm famous for being horrible to be interviewing.
Not at all.
Oh, aren't I? Well, I think I am.
Actually, so do I, but I'm not being polite. Can I welcome you back, Colin, to the Gladstone Pottery Museum?
I don't know, try.
I will welcome you back to the Gladstone Pottery Museum. It's splendid to see you here. Thank you very much for coming.
It's lovely. It's a long time, isn't it?
It's a few years.
What 22 years, I think.
Was it one night or was it more?
Do you know, I was hoping you were going to ask me technical questions. No, we stayed up here for 2 or 3 nights, I think. And it was all night long, of course. We started as dusk fell and went off to our hotel. Was at 5 in the morning, so it was a rather strange bit of filming. And then I do recall, it wouldn't have been me, because I'm not like that, probably Chris Clough, the director, and Michael Jaston and 1 or 2 others, getting back to our hotel at 5 o'clock in the morning and wanting to have a drink. So we had to do that as well. While the rest of you were thinking about getting up, we were consuming beer. Very odd behaviour. I don't do that anymore.
So what were your memories of this place, apart from that?
Oh, just I mean, it's a place of work, so it was taken over. You can see there were lights everywhere, there were props everywhere. All that fantasy factory stuff was there, and it was like being on a studio lot. So I didn't get to see anything of the museum or any of those things. We were there in the dead of night when you tend not to see very much. So it was just a film set, really.
And when I talked to Terry an hour ago, I hit very lucky with my first question. I said to him, have you by any chance ever been here before? And it was where he filmed his first ever television. So I'm going to hit lucky twice. Apart from you've worked in every theatre in the land many, many times. Have you worked in Stoke as well over the years?
I've worked at the Regent, that wonderful theatre with the best box office in the country. The box office is so well run.
But there be Mr. Cope in there as well.
A chap called Robert Cope works there. Funny enough, he wears dark glasses in the daytime as well. I'm giving him a hard time, bless him. I like the hair. The hair's nice. Suits you. Our superb organising genius here, Roberto Copo, lover of Doctor Who and wrestling, and the brothers. It's an odd combination, really. We ought to do a kind of mixed genre. We ought to have all 3. So we can have Paul Merrily wrestling a Doctor Who companion.
Which one? You've got to choose now, which one?
Choose a companion to wrestle with. No competition.
No, okay.
Fraser Hines. Well, I could beat him. The girls would probably win. So there's a thought for you.
That could work, couldn't it?
And at the back is the lovely Alison and Jude. That's Alison at the back, standing there in the blonde hair. Creator of wonderful costumes. See that costume there? That was made by Alison. Yes. This will probably come as a great surprise to you, but because you all think I look exactly the same as I did when I did Doctor Who, don't you? Yes. Well, in fact, I put on a little weight since then, I have to admit. So the costume I wore then became a little tight. Just a little. Not very, just a little. But Alison made me a new one which fits, which I will be wearing this afternoon to have pictures taken with anybody who wants to have their picture taken with me in my costume. And she has brought those along to, that's the original, is that the original waistcoat there? No, it's one you've made. Is that one you've made? I could have sworn that was the original. Wow.
Whereas what Mr. Cope's wearing is what he wears day to day, of course.
Yes, in the box office at the Regent Theatre, Stoke-on-Trent, Hanley, Stoke-on-Trent. I get very mixed up here. Everyone says, oh, we're going to Stoke-on-Trent and we go to Hanley, which isn't Stoke-on-Trent, is it?
Yes. Hanley is the city centre of Stoke-on-Trent. Should we list the towns?
But Stoke-on-Trent is somewhere else.
So what have we got? We've got Hanley, Burslem, Tunstall, Longton, Fenton and Stoke.
And Broadmoor.
And some people like to add Newcastle on the line, but it's not, is it? No.
And you've got a halfway decent football team, it seems.
And they call it the 5 towns and the 6 of them.
Well, there you are. It's a very
Standards of
confusing
math
place.
teaching.
Well, there's a lot going on here, isn't there? It's coming up, as they say. Stoke is coming up.
Now, of all the Doctors Who, during the time,
I like that.
the Doctors Who,
very good.
during the years, the wilderness years, if you will, you were the one who was the greatest advocate of the series. No, you weren't, not always, but you were the one who was most vociferous in saying the series should come back, and it could be good again, and it could capture an audience again, and why didn't your daughters have their own Doctor, and all that. You must be enormously gratified that it's such a success as it is today.
I didn't know I was particularly vociferous.
You were.
I'm sure the others had their opinions
No,
too.
you were the star.
Well, they didn't want competition, you see. They didn't want to be compared unfavourably with new ones, whereas I could stand a competition because everyone thought I was rubbish anyway. No, I am delighted, and indeed, what happened was, along came Christopher Eccleston, and my daughters, who were at that time kind of 12 up to 20, I think, I've got 4 daughters, all kind of watched it and rather enjoyed it. And then one of them said, hang on a minute, is that the program same character that you did? Because before they were born, you see. I said, yes. I mean, those tapes have been trying to make us watch, that we have resolutely refused to watch for 20 years. And they have. They've said, oh, I'm bored. I said, well, watch these. Arc of Infinity, Mark of the Rani, Twin Dilemma. Watch them. And they went, oh, no, we'd rather watch these cartoons or that blank wall in front of us. And then suddenly along came the new reborn Russell T Davies version of Doctor Who, which they loved, and they sat down and watched mine, and suddenly, for a day or two, I got a bit of respect in my own home, because I was Doctor Who, which meant nothing to them before whatsoever, apart from the fact that I still did big finishes and they paid me enough money to give them food on the table.
You're a big fan of the new series, right?
I think it's great, yes. Who watched it last night? Yeah, so did I.
Directed by
Graham Harper, the mad lunatic Graham Harper, who I first met in 1970 when he was a floor manager on War and Peace, and he was exactly the same then. He had limitless energy. You know, he'd hit the deck running in the morning, he'd still be running at night, and I gather he's just the same now. He was 20 years later when I did Doctor Who with him. Calls everyone Gov. Right, Gov, I know Gov. You know, he's on the floor changing everything and making it exciting. He's a very good director. And I gather he's just the same now.
He was good enough to do our Doctor Who group last year, and he was working in Wales preparing Sarah Jane Adventures on the Friday. Had to be back there on the Saturday. He drove all the way from Wales to Derby, did the meeting for us with his wife, and turned around and drove back again.
Wow, that's energy for you.
Yeah.
And he's a good director.
And to interview Graham, it's, as I was saying earlier, it's so Graham. 2 hours later, fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Okay, so let's go back to your origins. You're from Manchester originally, aren't you?
I was born in London.
You're the first Northern Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's one thing that used to annoy me about Christopher Eccleston. You know, I'm a proper Northern Doctor Who. Oh yes. What about, well, I spent the first 23 years of my life in Manchester. Paul McGann comes from Liverpool. Sylvester McCoy comes from Scotland. How northern can you get?
The second Northern one, Tom was
Liverpool as well. So there have been more Northern Doctors than anything else. So Christopher Eccleston was a very fine actor and played the part well, but some of that chip on the shoulder stuff about being Northern, the only difference is he was allowed to talk with a Northern accent, which I wasn't. Well, I didn't. You couldn't as an actor then, you wouldn't survive if all you could do were Northern, unless you wanted to work in Manchester all your life. You had to, have a kind of neutral, received English tone.